Hi, Beth. How are you?
Hi, Nizam. I'm doing well. Good morning and good evening.
Thank you. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you, Beth.
I'm really happy to be here and excited to be able to share, like I said, about mBraining and other things.
Yes. And let's enjoy this interview as much as you're enjoying your morning tea.
It's actually hot cocoa. I backed off the caffeine a few years ago because I did find that it didn't suit me anymore.
Yes. Okay, so friends, we have Beth here. Beth is an inner life coach, mBraining coach. Originally, she was trained as a lawyer and she was working in the corporate world and then transitioned into coaching. And let's know more about her journey as a coach and then, what inspired her to transition from lawyer to coaching, which is something, where two different dimensions.
What I realized eventually was that they do have a common thread. The common thread between being a lawyer and being a coach is asking good questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're focused on problem solving. You're focused on leading the client to the best solution.
Excellent.
Okay. And so while the nature of how you question and what you're aiming for is different, all of the skills that I learned in that are perfect for this transition. Yeah. So if I look at my journey in about 2008, I started personal development stuff and things because I hit a ceiling in my law firm of not knowing what I was doing anymore, of not being able to grow other people, not being able to grow the firm because I didn't have the skills. And so that took me into personal development, into leadership development, into starting to look at KPIs and all the leadership management and change management skills. And at that same time, I did an NLP practitioner course because I was interested in how you use NLP in negotiation. Yes. Okay, so it was very much at that stage, it was a tool, it wasn't, I didn't do NLP for the purpose of coaching people with it, but rather of having better communication skills, better interaction, being able to read the room better, and also, be more in control when I needed to of how a conversation took place, especially difficult conversations. Then about 2013, 2014, I did straight out coaching and coaching training. And I did it solely for the purpose of becoming a better mentor to the lawyers that were coming behind me, so that I would actually be somebody that really helped them define, what are you doing as you grow professionally? And it was absolutely fantastic for that. I had at that stage no intention of changing from being a lawyer or not. Okay. At that stage, it was all I was doing was becoming a better leader, focusing on honing my skills so that I would do my job better. Okay. 2018, my best friend, Vicky, who was a lawyer for about a year or two. We went to law school together. She'd been a lawyer, but she had quickly transitioned within like 3 years after graduating from law school. She'd already transitioned into training and into programs and into development and leadership and that side of things rather than lawyering. Okay. And so in 2018, 25 years later, after we've graduated, she invited me to London to do a training course she was running because she wanted somebody to help serve the tea. She's like, get on a plane, come join me for 4 days.
Okay.
And and help me set up the room and help me, you know, just be my girl Friday. But come and do the course. And so without even knowing what mBraining was, having absolutely no idea what training I was going for, because this is the nature of our friendship, you know, she would say to me, you know, hop on a plane and be here for training, and I'll hop on a plane and go do a training. You know, it's a beautiful, you know, flow of friendship. So anyway, I get there and I do this training on mBraining, and I was mind blown. It was everything that had been missing for me in coaching, for me to even say that coaching was a possibility.
Okay.
So in mBraining, Grant and Marvin, who are the developers of mBraining, they started off with a book called mBraining, which is this one. Okay. So it's using your multiple brains to do cool stuff. But in the introduction to it, they say it's where neuroscience meets ancient wisdom. Okay. And so Grant is, I say, really nerdy. I love that nerdy side of him that could just dive into the science papers and just delve deep. And then he and Marvin work together to make it something that in everyday language any of us can use. Now I say everyday language, and Vicky looks at me and she goes, science talk. And I'm like, well, it's not that sciencey. And she's like, it is that sciencey. But they made it practical. They said, okay, well, what, you know, so what that neuroscientists found this out? What do we do with that knowing? It's all fine and well that this paper says, oh, look what the rats did. So what? What do we then take from that changes our lives? So I went and did this course in 2018, and within a month I had already decided I'm leaving law and I'm going to become a coach. So the last 3 years have been in transition. I've closed down my law firm. I'm now 100% coaching and writing, and it is a totally different life. But it feels like the very same passion I had 25 years ago when I started law, that joy and exuberance for something that lights me on fire. Yeah. So anyway, that's my transition to coaching.
Transition. So, but since you transitioned from lawyer to a coach, and especially you love this mBraining concept all about, could you please tell what is the importance of exploring these three brains in the coaching? Because some it's just a logical work. Sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And as a lawyer, I would have said I was a head on a stick. And if anything, I was a head on a stick with gutsy courage of I take that and move forward with something. Okay. But as with many lawyers, there was not a whole lot of heart in it. Okay. So if you think about even the English language, and I'm sure you've got something similar in Hindi, where we talk about wearing your heart on your sleeve, or we talk about, oh, they're off chasing their heart. Okay. We talk about sleeping on it when we need to make a decision, and we sleep on it because the gut takes longer to filter up all the messages of its inner wisdom. So what Grant Marvin were looking at was the fact that while our head brain has, usually people talk about 80 billion neurons, it's anywhere from there to 100 billion. Okay. It's an astonishing number. It's a supercomputer. Okay. Your heart only has about 140,000. So compared to this supercomputer, your heart's still running on DOS. It's that 246, that we all started with back in the 1990s,
Yes.
when Microsoft gave, and IBM came out with the very first computer. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the neurons in your heart.
Okay.
Okay. And then, of course, in your gut, you've probably got about 500 million neurons that are scattered throughout the gut. And it's not just in one place, the same way that in the heart, it's not just in one place. Okay. And so technically, scientists, especially, those in the medical field, say it's not a brain. Okay. And so they'll also say, well, it only informs the brain. Okay. I can understand on one level how that is absolutely true, and on another level how it is absolutely false. Okay. The reality is that while we might have these three separate brains, at no stage do they work separately. They are always working, hopefully, in alignment together, but not always. And so for a lot of people, when you're finding you have conflicted decisions, like you've got a plan and you're working on your mindset, and yet you're not moving forward, it is because in your mind, it is a great idea and you've made an amazing plan to take it into account. And either your heart's not in it, or your gut is sitting there saying, there are issues you haven't addressed yet, so it's just a bad idea. That gut instinct that says, ain't gonna budge. We're not moving. Okay. And so you've got this inner fight that you're not even aware of happening within your body because you don't have that inner alignment. Okay. So with mBraining, what we're looking at is, okay, well, how do we bring inner alignment? How do I get the heart on board? And if you think about your heart, you're feeling, you're connecting to other people, and your heart at some level is telling you what is truly important. What do I value the most? Okay. One of the biggest mistakes we make is that we make our values and our priorities in our head, as opposed to in our heart. And then we try to shove them down. But if you think about something like the vagus nerve is 90% up and 10% down. Okay. So it is much easier to move with the heart's desires than it is to force yourself to take something down of this is what we're going to do. Willpower will only take you so far. Mindset work is only going to take you so far if all of the rest of you is not on board. And so for me, being a head on a stick, there was a whole lot of good ideas I wanted to chase. And then you get there and it's an empty victory. It's an empty success because it wasn't actually what your heart wanted. Okay. So the other thing, when we go down into the gut, I don't know about you, but my sense of self, that deep self of who I am, is not in my head. That's ego. Okay. Deep self is in the gut. Okay. That sense of identity. This is who I deeply and truly am, is something we embody. The other thing, obviously, in our gut, most of us have felt it, is fear, boundaries, limits. And if you think of it like, these guys make a great argument of your immune system is 80% in the gut. It says this is self, this is not self. We're going to accept this, we're not going to accept that. Okay. And so your gut is doing boundaries all the time on the food level, on the immune system level. And it's actually, if you let it, the best measure with gut instinct of boundaries for you. So instead of doing safety, security, and risk assessment on my head level, which can also cause anxiety, okay?
Yes.
when we come down into that gut from a place of real deep inner peace, we're just sitting in calm. We let the gut say yes or no. This is safe. This is not safe. This is who I am. This is not who I am. Courage and moving forward. Courage also, if you think about it, courage is in that space right between the heart and the gut. So we talk about gutsy courage. And so we draw that courage up from our gut into our lives and into moving forward with whatever amazing plan and goals and dreams we've created in our head. But we draw that up, we embody it, we make it happen. And obviously, like I said, all of this is processed and dealt with at a head level. But we draw the feelings up, we bring all of that up.
I want to hear more.
Okay, so when I go into something like, okay, so something like Ditch the Diet, Face the Feelings, okay, which is one of my signature programs. I've got probably 50 plus videos on YouTube on the program. But basically, Ditch the Diet, Face the Feelings is all about, forget about all those external rules out there. Forget about counting calories. How many calories did I burn with my workout? Forget about how much do I weigh, what size I am, all those external measurements. And let's come inside, okay? Let's come into the body and embody eating, okay? Now, as you and I know, eating really starts with the eyes, with the nose, chroma, with the setting. Where am I eating? What's the placement of this? And one of the things I've learned to do because of mBraining is to pause before I eat. I take that moment, just check in with my body of where am I at? Am I even physically hungry?
Okay.
Because we are so in tune with, oh, it's lunchtime, I better eat. Okay. Well, so what time the clock says? Am I hungry? Or the one I chronically did as a lawyer of, oh, look, I've got a 12:30 meeting, so I should eat before the meeting. Okay. Because I don't want to be hungry in the meeting. Okay. And so I would eat on a schedule in order to not interfere with my meetings, as in my meeting is more important than my hunger is. My meeting is more important in priorities than my body is. Okay. The other thing is that for some reason now we're scared of being hungry. Now, if I get hungry and I eat half an hour after I first felt hunger, absolutely nothing is going to happen. I'm not a 2-year-old that can't hold my hunger for half an hour.
Yes, true that.
But somehow in society as it is right now, we're scared of feeling hungry. Oh my gosh, what if my tummy grumbles? Somebody might hear it. Okay. And there's all this sense of embarrassment that, God forbid, I be hungry when I sit down to eat. And yet the best thing you can do for your body is actually wait till you are hungry to eat. Now, I'm not talking hangry as in I've gone past hunger and now I'm irrational and angry because I need to eat now. No, I'm talking about feeling hungry and honoring our bodies. And saying, actually, yes, I hear you. You're hungry now. Let's eat. Now, I mean, if you think about a toddler, toddlers understand hunger perfectly. You try to feed a toddler that's not hungry. They won't eat. The same way that if you've got a toddler that is hungry, they let you know about it. Eat now, you know?
That's a beautiful metaphor, which is gonna stay with me forever.
Yes. And I mean, like, the thing is that the beautiful thing about toddlers is they are completely in the present moment. They're not anxious about the future. They're not living in the past. They are just perfectly present. They're perfectly aware of what they want to eat, how long they want to eat. Now, they will forget about eating temporarily because they're playing, because they're so engrossed in the engagement of the moment that this is all there is. But we lose that too. And so with mBraining, it's been all about coming back into the body. I mean, just think, you've got 10,000 taste buds between your lips all the way through the entire digestive system. I didn't realize until I got into, ditch diet face feelings. You've got taste buds in your heart. You've got taste buds even in your lungs.
Oh my God,
Now,
really?
you might not be totally in your conscious awareness. Thankfully, I mean, you've even got taste buds in your anus, which thankfully are totally beyond our conscious awareness. You don't taste the food that comes out, okay? But you do. Your body does. There is a constant communication in what your body likes and doesn't like.
That's so true.
Okay. And so as we're going in the journey, I start with taste. Do you like what you're eating? So when you're on this diet and it's all restrictive and there's so many things that you can't eat, the moment you go off the diet, what is the first thing you reach for? All those things that were out of bounds. And so if you had portion control or calorie control, well, all of that goes out the window. You're not in tune with your body. Okay. And I was reading, the 4-Day Win by Martha Beck. Okay. She is mostly a spiritual writer, which is why I read her. But she also has written a book about her health and wellness journey.
Mhm.
And coming back into the body of, if we actually listen to the body, we would realize that we eat past that bliss point of enough.
Okay.
Okay. So the other half of ditch the diet and face the feelings is, one, do I eat when I'm hungry? And second, do I stop when I've had enough? Because we eat to finish what's on our plate. We eat because, oh my gosh, I might not be able to have this later. We eat because I can't put this in the fridge because it will spoil. Well, what if we ate just in tune with ourselves?
No, please.
And as you get in tune with yourself, so for me, with the health issues I had with my gut, which is what took me into in mBraining, there is one of the training courses that is done is called Energetics by Shirley Billigmeyer. Okay. And she is she's not a diet coach because she's exactly not diet. She is exactly about get in your body and embody. So it's energetics, your inner energy. Okay. And totally getting in touch with your points. Okay. So I did this training that she and Grant put together for mBraining coaches. And at that stage, I was quite at the beginning of knowing that my gut could be in much better shape than what it was, but not knowing how to do it. Okay. And so the reason I studied that in the first place was because I was looking at how do I get to know my gut better. Okay. So back in about 2001, 2002, when I was traveling a lot, I got food poisoning and I got really sick, and it completely upset my intestines to the point of never coming back to normal. Like, since that trip, I have never gone back to normal.
Oh.
Okay. Now, I could tell you that leading up to that, I was probably drinking 10 to 12 cups of coffee a day.
Mhm.
I was burning the candle both ends. I was your work hard, play hard girl. Um, life was very much on edge. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that if I had not had that lifestyle, my body may not have responded the same way. I might not have had that intense reaction to the food poisoning that threw everything out of balance. But I don't know. Okay. Hindsight, you could sit there and look at it and analyze it all you like, but it's not going to do a whole lot of good. Okay. So the first diagnosis was IBS,
Yeah.
irritable bowel syndrome, which is your catch-all phrase of we have no idea what's wrong with you. Okay. And ulcerative colitis, which I didn't know at the time, but I know now is one of the autoimmune diseases.
Oh.
Okay. So what that means is even then they realized that my immune system had been thrown out of balance. It was no longer working as it should work. I didn't find that out until about 10 years later when my gynecologist realized that all of my problems were not ulcerative colitis and IBS and sent me for new panels and found out celiac disease, which made so much more sense when I got that diagnosis. And when I cut out the wheat and the gluten and all of that, things started to come back to normal, but there were still pieces missing. Okay. So when in 2018, I did energetics, it was really looking at, I lived for 10 years undiagnosed with celiac disease. And who knows how much damage I did in that time to my gut. But thankfully, according to the doctors, it wasn't all that much. Okay. The tests were very much, it's mostly okay. But I am convinced that the body can heal itself. Maybe not 100% of, I'll go back to eating gluten and wheat. Okay. I'm not talking about, just all of that can be reversed, but all of the physical damage without a doubt can. The villi do grow back in the small intestine. Okay. The body does heal itself. And so on this journey, it was like, well, what are all the things that cause me inflammation? And so when I started energetics, it was really looking at getting to know my gut. The first thing I realized was that I ate because of discomfort in my gut. I didn't eat because I was hungry.
Oh, okay.
And it took me probably a good year to be able to differentiate hunger and discomfort. Because I was so out of balance. I could not. I couldn't tell the difference between what is hunger versus what is just discomfort. Because it wasn't pain. It was just a feeling of something's not right. And so it's as you get into getting to know that gut, getting to know what is hunger, then of course feelings and emotions start surfacing.
That was my
Okay.
next question. Like,
Okay.
what is the role of emotional healing? Thank you for bringing that.
Exactly. So that's just, the thing is, and it's hard to say, one of the things that the diet industry is only starting to address is emotional eating. Okay. But they're certainly not addressing all of the dysmorphia of life, of why we eat for anxiety, for stress, for discomfort, like I said, because there's just something is wrong and we're trying to just feed the beast. Okay. You're eating because you're tired. Okay. The classic, I'm tired, so I'll have X or Y, sweet or caffeinated, to push through this and keep going. When really what my body is saying is, I would like a rest. Now, if we would listen to that and have the rest, you wouldn't need to eat. You wouldn't feed a body that's not hungry. But because we're intent on pushing through, and I'm going to do this anyway, I'm going to get this job done. we're not listening to our bodies. And so we're eating more. Where, you get that 3 o'clock slump in the afternoon, and you got two choices. You can have the 10 or 20-minute nap, or you eat something or drink something to push through. Okay, that is how we work in this modern age, especially in the corporate world where it's not permitted to have the nap. I mean, if you walk in on a workmate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they're having a nap, what are you going to think? But we all know that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, most people have an energy slump. In Spain, they still have siestas. So when you get that energy slump in Spain, you do go have a nap. And one of the things that I now do is that from 2 to 4 p.m., I don't have appointments. And if I need to, the time is there. Now, I might just choose to sit and read because I'm not actually that tired. Mm-hmm. But I make time now in my schedule to listen to my body, knowing that at some stage between 2 to 4 p.m., I'm going to hit a slump. And if I need a nap, I will take it. Now, the beauty of doing that is that I can work till 9 or 10 p.m. with energy, with focus, with an alert mind, because I listened to my body. So, the thing with this process of ditching the diet is ditching all those external rules. And I think if there's something beautiful about what happened in 2020, it is that lifestyles crumbled. And suddenly a whole lot more possibility opened up. Yes, people were stuck in lockdown or locked in their homes, and people will, I ate my way through everything. Well, maybe you did. But maybe you ate your way through everything for the month or two and then realized, well, wait a minute. No, I don't want this to be my life.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And then you start making changes. And I have a whole lot of friends who are 3 sizes, 4 sizes smaller over the last 2 years. It's not, it's been personal choices. This is what's important to me.
There's always a choice.
Yeah. So the beauty with the mBraining and getting into the heart of the matter, getting into the emotions is, if I'm not physically hungry, well, then what is this? Now, obviously, we know that the food industry does, our corn syrup or whatever, or the extra saltiness and the extra sweetness and all of that. Yeah, I know that some foods are addictive. Okay. But beyond that, there's a really simple question of hunger.
That's amazing.
Your body does not want to overeat. Now, you could tell me, oh, no, but it does. Actually, no, it doesn't. There is part of you, and this is why I love the analogy of the 3 brains, having an argument between them. There's part of you that says, yes, I want more. And there's another part of you saying, no, I've had enough. So what I learned to do quite early on in this journey was to literally, when I could not differentiate between discomfort and hunger, was I would put my hand right where my stomach is and literally just wait a minute to notice what my stomach was feeling. It took a lot of time for me to get in touch with that, as opposed to what is my body as a whole feeling, which might be discomfort, which might be tired. The question of hunger is simply, is my stomach hungry, ready to eat?
That's the
okay.
Amazing
And
insight.
then if it's not hungry, which most of the time it probably isn't, okay, well, then you've got to come up to, so what is it I am feeling? And that's why it is ditch the diet, face the feelings. This is where we come into differentiating. Okay, well, you're not hungry. So what is this?
It could be anxiety. It could be stress. It could be anything.
It could be anything. Okay. And so some of that is heart, some of that is gut. A whole lot of it is lifestyle. Okay. This monster of a life that I've created that does not align with my body. And one of the things is, instead of paring away and saying, there's limits on what food I eat, and I can't eat that, and I can only eat this, and this is out of bounds. In Digital Diet Face the Feelings, which is something I learned amazing from Shirley Billigmeyer in Energetics, was all food is good food. The
All
only
food
thing
is good food.
all food is good food. And it doesn't matter. I mean, like, if you want to have ice cream for breakfast, as long as you eat breakfast hungry and you stop eating when you're no longer hungry, ice cream for breakfast is a perfectly valid choice. Okay. It doesn't, there are no rules of yes, you can, no, you can't. Okay. As long as you honor your hunger. Now, what you're going to find, of course, with your body is that your body starts saying, well, actually, today, could we possibly have broccoli? Maybe just a little bit. I'm kind of missing something. And as you're getting in tune, it's not that I don't avoid any of those foods anymore. If I could have, if I can have gluten-free brownies, I have gluten-free brownies. I don't have any guilt. The only question is, I'll have them and eat them when I'm hungry.
That's amazing insight. This is something, a beautiful statement, Beth. It's there's so much of insights I am getting personally. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beth, here you have repeatedly used the statement, am I feeling, is this hunger or discomfort? Is this hunger or discomfort? Okay, let's say a person starts identifying, like you said, it took you a year to understand the difference because of
And
the previous
that's because of 20 years of
yes,
living,
previous lifestyle. Yeah, you
exactly.
have had.
Yeah.
So now let's say a person has become or started noticing whether this is hunger or discomfort and started working on those emotional stuff. Okay, the emotional healing has started by whatever might be the process. Process is not the matter.
Exactly. And process, I mean, process can be hypnosis, can be
Hypnosis,
EFT,
NLP,
can be
EFT, doesn't
NLP.
matter.
I mean, there are so many amazing tools. Okay. Yeah.
So what happens when a person started working on emotions and now he or she is now aware that, hey, you know what, each time I'm feeling discomfort, I'm having food, so let me stop there and start working on the emotions. So have you observed that their weight, people lose weight or like get into fitness? Like, what exactly happens when a person starts working on the emotional issues and not eat at that time? So what exactly is happening there?
Well, I mean, it's like any time that you cut back on your food, what is going to happen is you're going to lose the extra pounds. Okay. Because obviously, if I only eat when I'm hungry and not following cravings, I've cut back on food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And if I only eat until I'm no longer hungry, as opposed to finished my plate, I've had a smaller portion, but I didn't have a measured portion. I simply listened to a stop point in my body. That's all. It's really simple, but I am eating less.
Yes.
Okay.
With awareness.
With awareness. Exactly. And so one of the things that I realized, I'm putting together right now an online program for Digital Diet Face Feelings. One of the things I realized was that we used to pray before we ate. Okay. We used to take a moment and you'd stop your activities of the day and everyone would come together to eat together. Okay. So you've got emotional support. Even if you fought with your family, there was still that sense of belonging, that sense of connection, no matter what happened. But there was also a stopping of activity. Don't bring the phone to the table. Don't turn the TV on. It was a moment of stopping to eat. You were completely present. And before you lifted up your forks, before you served your plates, you took a moment and you stopped. And you connected with the divine, with God, whatever your definition of that is. You connected with appreciation and gratitude for the farmers that grew the food, the transport and logistics system that got it to your home, the person in your house that cooked it and made it and prepared it and put it on the table. Typically, you gave thanks for the house, the neighborhood, the community you lived in. You gave thanks for those that were sitting at the table with you. I want you to just for a moment think of what that's doing in your body as you've stopped activities of the day and you've connected with appreciation and gratitude for just this moment. Now, we know that appreciation and gratitude on an energy level is at the very top of the scale. It is the most coherent in terms of your heart emotion. So if you look at some of the studies that Heart Math Institute has done, they do these studies where they're looking at the impact of the heart, when they measure the heartbeat externally with electronic, how far your heart can be sensed beyond the body. Okay. The biggest field around you is created by gratitude and appreciation. Okay. So before we ate, we would stop, we would sit, and we would come into gratitude and appreciation. And so if you think about it, every person at that table was in a state of gratitude and appreciation. Even if you weren't, you were being entrained by the people around you into a state of gratitude and appreciation, lifting up the vibe, if you want to, if for lack of other language. Okay. So you're bringing up the energy level into one of gratitude and appreciation. So you've stopped, but all the time you're also breathing. We do that without even having to think about it. You're breathing. That means you're inhaling. It also means you're inhaling the aroma of the food. Okay. Now that starts the saliva and all, the whole Pavlov's dog process in the body of digestion has started before you even start eating. Okay. So you sat at this table, you took a moment for prayer or for grace, whatever you want to call that. And your body has started digestion, even though the food's not even on your plate yet. We've lost that. We've lost that connection with our food through aroma, through the preparing the body to eat by giving it that moment before we start to appreciate the food.
Wow. This is turning into a session on mini workshop on diet instead of
I told you you're gonna have to tell me to shut up, because I am passionate about this. Okay,
not do that, Beth. I don't want you to stop. This is amazing because the way you are connecting the dot, starting from your personal journey, the previous lifestyle, then the training, then the awareness, then how this shift happened.
Yeah.
That's how your coaching, like you as a coach, evolved into this.
Yeah. And the thing is that, it's just like, if you think about it, we used to stop 3 times a day and be present in the moment around food. And the world comes to a halt. I mean, we talk about, if you think about talking about body states, we talk about fight and flight, and we talk about rest and digest. Well, how many times now do we eat on the run in the car? Or do we eat on the run, walking down the street, eating our lunch while we're walking somewhere? Okay, so we're not stopping for rest and digest anymore. Our body is out of sync in the lifestyle to be able to digest food properly. And so, I mean, like, one of the first changes I tell all of my clients is I want
Beth, I am not able to hear your voice.
oh dear.
Yes, now
Okay.
your voice is back. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Could you please repeat what
Yeah.
you said?
Okay. So we've because we eat on the run, suddenly we've stopped rest and digest. Okay. And I ask my clients immediately, the first thing I say is, there's one rule now. You're going to sit down and eat. You're going to stop what you're doing, and I want you to sit down to eat. That's it.
Yeah.
Really simple. I want you to sit down. I want you to look at your food. I want you to connect with the food, what's on your plate, and then eat it. That's it. Just stop.
Amazing. Amazing.
And it's amazing, the awareness, because really all of coaching, and it doesn't matter what kind of coaching we're doing, it is an awareness journey. It's, you cannot change what you're not aware of. So the first thing we're going to look at is, what are you not aware of?
Yes.
Okay. So one of my friends is like, you always are writing on self-awareness and authenticity. And I was like, yes, because
what else do we need?
Exactly. I mean, because at the, know thyself. I mean, all of
Yes.
Ditch the Die and Face of Feelings is know thyself. It's all about self-awareness, because the moment I become aware of what is out of balance, I can change it. And so, we, like I said, we're eating for all these reasons that aren't, I'm hungry. We're putting all these rules in place of this is good food and this is bad food. One of the most amazing things I learned from Shirley and Grant when I did the energetics training was, when you say this food is bad, you have now instilled in your body a fear about that food. Okay. This is a bad food. So therefore, there is a certain fear element, even if I'm enjoying it and it's a guilty pleasure. Within my body, what is running is either adrenaline or cortisol. Okay? Cortisol being the stress hormone. The moment I go into cortisol, I am going to store that food as fat. Because that's the message it sends to my body. Take this food, do not convert it to energy. They don't need energy. What they need right now is stored fat. So you're telling yourself, when you're labeling food as good and bad, and I, like I said, Shirley and Grant did a great job of explaining this. You're telling yourself, well, now we're going to just turn this to fat, because, and of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and a self-perpetuating cycle that I tell myself this food is bad. My fear and cortisol convert it to fat. And look what it did to me. Now it made me fat. So obviously that food is bad.
True.
and the whole relationship with food gets messed up.
True. Lovely. Okay. So, Beth, your program is called Ditch the Diet and Face the Feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree, because, since our conversation developed, we are talking about awareness, we are talking about how do we eat with gratitude, and identifying the difference between the hunger and discomfort. I totally agree with you. Yet, what are the external measurements? Like, some people have like, okay, today I have this they count on calories, the portion sizes, etc., etc., etc. Now, versus the inner wisdom, like when to eat, how to eat, no
Yeah,
mobile, no television. I'm just
exactly.
with the food. So something along these lines. Could you please just
Yeah,
explain a
like there
little bit?
has to be something, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, like
Okay, so the external rules, like are two you mentioned. Okay. One is where you're eating, sitting down, that you're
okay,
taking a pause, you're stepping away. That is an external rule. Okay. My second external rule is that before you eat, you need to just breathe. And I am going to just ask you to do a minute or 2 minutes of just breathe and be in your body. Now, ideally, I want you to breathe what we call an mBraining balanced breathing. So like you might do 4 in, 4 out, 6 in, 6 out, whatever that perfect count for you is, but
yes,
in balance. You don't want to be doing a longer breath because that'll take you down in energy. You don't want to do a long inhale because that'll send you into fight and flight. You really want to be just in perfect balance in a calm state where you're just in the present moment. And so one of my external measurements is really simple. I just want you to breathe. For a moment, I just want you to be in your body breathing. Before you even connect with the food, before you serve the plate, just breathe.
so you revealed your secret.
That's one of the, I mean, it's the simplest
Yes,
thing. Everybody, I mean, you're going to breathe anyway.
yes,
So just do it with intention. Just
yes,
get
with awareness.
present. Yes, with awareness. Because once you've done that, then when you ask yourself, am I hungry?
Hmm.
You're already in your body. Okay? Because there's no point in me asking you, am I hungry? If you're not in that calm state, when you can't actually notice what you're feeling.
Yes.
Okay. So I ask my clients, I want every time you're going to eat, and I don't care if you're eating standing up in the kitchen and you're not following the rest of the rules, I want you to still breathe before you do it.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, second external measurement, which is also internal, is I only eat when I'm hungry. I honor my hunger. So if I'm not hungry, I don't eat. I face whatever it is I need to face. And so for most of my clients, there's journaling. Okay. So the other thing they're going to do is they're going to take pen and paper, not some app, not on the computer. Okay. And they are going to journal, what am I feeling?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Even if they ate or they didn't eat, it can be 2 lines. I don't care. But
Okay.
what were you feeling?
Hmm.
What took you to the fridge? What took you to go for food? What were you avoiding? What were you looking for? What were you hungry for? What was this?
Yes.
Then we start looking for patterns.
Hmm.
Because as you'll know from most clients, everything in life is a pattern. And if I can break the pattern, I can break the habit.
Yes.
So let's say that I notice in my journal that I run into this person at work, and within 5 minutes, I'm headed for food.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
sit there and go, oh my goodness.
I never
Every
thought in
time
this
I run
thing.
into this person,
Okay.
it triggers something and I go looking for food. And then my coaching turns to, okay, what is it about this person that
Wow.
triggers you to look for food? Now, it might be a childhood memory. It might be something in the present moment. I don't know, but I'm looking for the pattern.
Okay.
I'm looking for what do I need to break?
It may take a while to observe this pattern, yet once we get stuck, definitely we'll end up identifying it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I
Yes.
mean, like every coaching session is really about looking at, okay, what are we coaching on this week? And I can't tell you in advance what that's going to be
Yes.
because I don't know
True.
what's going to come up. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to coach to the moment. Now that some weeks is going to be to the heart and emotions and feelings and relationships. Sometimes that's going to be the head. It's going to be mindset. It's going to be point of view, the way I'm looking at the world and going,
Yes.
oh, wait a minute, there was another way to look at this. And I didn't consider another perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. It might be the meaning that I've assigned to somebody. You know, somebody did something and I assigned that a meaning. And that actually is not correct. I don't know beforehand. And then, of course, you know, it might be gut. This might be about identity, about fear of losing who I am or changing who I am. It might be about protecting who I think I am. Okay. One of the things that unfortunately I've noticed, and you'll be able to find myriads of writers and studies on this, is that a lot of sexual abuse victims put on a whole lot of weight to protect themselves.
Yes. I have
Okay.
come across such clients as well.
And so obviously as a coach, I have to tread lightly because I'm not a therapist. Okay. And it's knowing where that line is between what I'm doing and when I need to say, you know what, this is out of my hands. I'm not the right person to handle this. Okay. But knowing that all of that might come up as I start this process. And so coaching suddenly becomes dealing with trauma and all kinds of stuff and knowing, okay, this is my limit. I'm not going to go there. I've got to work with another professional and pass them off. Okay.
Yes. And then come back.
Because they're still going to come to me every week, but I'm not
Yes.
going to do the trauma work necessarily.
Yes.
Okay. But knowing that you all of that is part of facing the feelings. Because if I don't deal with the underlying cause of why they need to protect themselves and what they're protecting themselves from, I haven't helped them. And so there's so many thousands of reasons why we eat too much and what we're protecting ourselves from. But at the end of the day, that's part of the feelings of what I have to address.
Wow. Amazing. So, Beth, how do we use the wisdom of these three brains so that we, be it related to weight or stress or to calm down? So, like, could you please tell a bit
Okay.
more about that?
So as you'll know from yoga, okay, we use the breath and we pass the breath through each of the three brains.
Okay.
And what we're looking for is alignment to get the three brains to agree.
Okay.
Because most of the time, the same way that the problem with most of our relationships is a lack of communication and balanced exchange. The reason that we feel out of sorts and out of balance and unaligned internally is because they're not in communication and they're out of balance. And so what we're always looking for in mBraining is coherence, which is getting into that calm state, communication up and down between all three of the brains. Are we on the same page?
I love this word coherence.
Yeah. All leading finally to inner wisdom. Because the wisdom comes not from just my head and my knowledge. The wisdom comes from pursuing my dreams, my heart's desires, my goals, my purpose, okay, intelligently, okay, not just, you know, I mean, like, you know, the cartoons by Awkward Yeti?
No.
Okay, Awkward Yeti is a cartoonist that I have loved for years, but I really love him even more now that I'm in mBraining, because he does these cartoons mostly about the head and the brain. And the head is off
Oh,
chasing
yes, yes. That I
butterflies.
know.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Right.
Now
Okay.
I got
So
it.
the head is off
Yes.
chasing butterflies, and the
Yes.
brain is sitting there with his glasses going,
True.
no, we can't do that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And the brain comes up with the to-do list, and the heart's like, oh no, but I don't want to do any of that. Okay. Well, it is a fantastic description of what's happening within us. And then you cut the tongue. The tongue is off going, let's just eat this. While the stomach is like, I don't
Yeah,
need any
no.
more.
True, true, true.
It is a great,
Yes.
description of what's happening. Now, I don't entirely agree with him from an mBraining perspective, because there's answers to all of that,
Yeah.
but he draws comics and he brings awareness to this inner conflict that's happening within all of us. And what mBraining does, it says it doesn't have to be like that. Your heart does not have to be off chasing butterflies. It can be wise and intelligent.
Yes.
And your head can be compassionate and chase your dreams intelligently, but with compassion. And you can bring up the courage from your gut to move forward on those dreams and plans, because it's who you are, and you've done your risk assessment, and you're comfortable with this level of risk. This is who I am, so this risk is perfectly okay. I'm outside my comfort zone, but that's okay.
Wow.
Because this is who I am. This is what I want to have. And so what mBraining does, it says, okay, well, we want all three to be on the same page, and to keep them on the same page with whatever life throws to you. Because the thing is that life is constantly changing and evolving.
Yes.
So mBraining is about the generative wisdom, the constantly evolving wisdom as you're living day to day. Because your goal and your dream might be, I don't want to say static, because that it's constantly moving and you're constantly adapting to your situation. Okay, to what's happened. You're responding.
Yeah.
The question is, as life happens, and you're making small decisions about how to adjust your plans and your course because life has happened, can you still do that from a place of inner alignment?
Wow.
So you set the goal and the dream out there, and you make up your plan, and then you do that from inner alignment, head, heart, gut. And then on a daily and a weekly basis, or you're coming back and looking at that plan and making the adjustments from a place of inner alignment, head, heart, gut.
Wow.
You're not just going, okay, well, I think. Well, that's all fine and well. But did all of you agree?
Okay.
Do you still in balance? Are you still aligned? And sometimes, as happens to many of us, you get along the path of life and you realize, actually, that's not really what I wanted. What I wanted was this feeling, this emotion, but this thing that I thought was going to give me that feeling actually isn't necessary. There could be a different thing that will create an even better result for me. And I'm willing to change course, because what I really wanted was this feeling of success, this feeling of inner peace, this feeling of better relationships. And it doesn't have to be this one thing. And so the beauty of mBraining is it says it's okay to change course. You're still focused on that final outcome, but you can change how you do that. The how can change.
Wow. That's a beautiful explanation. Thank you. But you have again connected all the dots beautifully. till this we reached at a point of coherence and the
Mhm.
alignment. These beautiful words make a lot of sense now
Yeah.
about the coherence, in the sense how we are going with the head, heart, and gut, and then
Yeah.
they are in alignment. Such a beautiful thing. And probably my last question in this
Uh-huh.
interview,
Yeah.
but so please tell the importance of laughter. I know your lovely post over Facebook, friends. I'm warning you, don't visit Beth's page. You may end up laughing
It is not
loud.
for the faint-hearted. It is not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
I have a dark sense of humor that comes through in so many posts. Yeah.
Yes. If your stomach aches out of laughter, we are not responsible. So there is a warning coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. If you want
So,
the serious stuff, you just visit
yes,
my
yes,
website, or you can see
yes,
my Instagram. They're both serious, but my
yes,
Facebook profile is
yes.
mostly memes and laughter. Now, one of the reasons for that is if you look at the body, the diaphragm, okay, is actually two muscles. One of the muscles is in the gut, one of the muscles is in the heart area.
Okay.
Okay. It's literally, it's not one muscle, it's two muscles. Okay. Laughter hits us both in the gut and the heart.
Wow.
But the
Okay.
amazing thing about laughter is that your mind has to connect the dots and find it funny as well. It's not just your heart and your gut that participate in it. So when we laugh, it is a full body experience.
Okay.
Okay. And so the more I study laughter therapy, for example, it is a great way to move someone from emotional states. It is a great way to face the feelings. One of the things that I've discovered, and I've seen it before, I mean, we say this, I don't know whether I should laugh or cry. Okay. Laughter is a great way into opening up emotions, opening the floodgate of being able to just express yourself. Now, I had about 2-3 days ago, I put on some music that I love that is lighthearted and makes me feel good. It generates laughter and joy within me. And about 40 minutes into listening to it, I wanted to cry.
Oh,
And I was like,
okay.
well, wait a minute, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized was that because I allowed myself to be in that moment of joy and feeling, you open up feeling. Okay. And so, we talk about laughter being the best medicine. And I mean, if you look at the studies on laughter, it does amazing things for your immune system. It does amazing things for your nervous system. Okay. And like I said, it involves the gut, the heart, and the head.
Instant alignment.
Yes. Okay. And so it is, for me, laughter is the best medicine. It is an amazing tool, even in coaching, to get them to face feelings. If they're numb,
Yeah.
it is so much easier to get them to laugh than it is to get them to cry. Okay. If the client says, I can't feel my heart, well, that's not entirely true. If I can make you laugh, I can get you in touch with your heart.
So that's the secret behind the memes of Beth. Thanks for the wonderful laughter therapy. So Beth, thank you very much, because it's been instead of a serious discussion, it was fun to know more. And
Yeah.
the beauty of your explanation was not like scientific, which goes above the head. It was very simplified explanation, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get benefited with these simple tips on sitting down with the food, be with gratitude before one
Yeah.
starts eating, and
Yeah.
differentiating between the hunger and discomfort,
Yeah.
alignment of these three brains. It was wonderful, wonderful conversation with you. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye, Beth.
All right. Bye-bye.